Good evening, ghosties. It is GW here, and I have been drinking again.
Are you afraid of the dark? Are you scared?
So this evening I wanted to address something that has been annoying me for quite a long time. I'm sorry if this comes off just a little bit ranty. I'm part of quite a few spiritual groups on Facebook and Tumblr, and you know, the witchy things, the haunted things, the spiritual things, the medium things. One thing that they all have in common is Ouija boards. I can guarantee you that as soon as the subject of using a Ouija board or buying a Ouija board or even breathing in the direction of a Ouija board comes up, you will get dozens of people going, oh my god, they're evil, they'll open a portal to hell, you'll get possessed, you'll turn into freaking, the fuck her name was, you know, the girl with the twisty head in The Exorcist. I don't know, I need more wine. Which just really annoys me. Even if someone hasn't used a Ouija board before, if they ask something and they want to know about, you know, the safe way to use a Ouija board, is there a safe way to use a Ouija board? Will it turn into a pumpkin if they don't put it in its box by 11 o'clock at night? They see all of these people going, oh my god, don't touch it, or bury it in salt when you're done, throw it off a bridge at a crossroads and make sure that you spit in the direction of the north wind. It just spreads this fear of something that really, it's a piece of cardboard. Contrary to popular belief, the Ouija board didn't actually spring fully printed out of the devil's asshole, out of the deepest hole in the ground. It was created in 1890 by a businessman called Elijah Bond. It was a dating game. That's right, for the low cost of 3 pennies and a shilling, or whatever the fuck it cost, you could turn up to your love interest's house, bring a Ouija board, you'd turn up with your family because you kind of had to make sure that you had a chaperone there with you, and you would take out this board and go, oh hey, let's ask the spirits whether or not we're gonna, you know, get married. Then you would put the board on the table, sit really close to each other, and even if you're lucky, touch fingertips on the planchette and ask the spirits, is my one true love in this room? This was back in the day where people would just rock up to other people's houses and have a seance after dessert and, you know, ask what they should wear next week. But it wasn't until World War I that the Ouija board actually gained any kind of spiritual use to whatever the hell it was. World War I was one of the most devastating, deadly wars that the, and I use the term loosely, civilized world had come across. There were a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of wives, a lot of war widows who were left behind who genuinely wanted to contact the other side. When there is a need, in come the businessmen posing as mediums and psychics. Hey look, there were probably some legitimate ones in there as well, using a Ouija board as a way to contact their husbands and their uncles and their lovers and their brothers. So that's when the Ouija board really became something that you could apparently use to contact deceased relatives, ancestors, demons, things like that. It was really something that was used and viewed in the same kind of light that tarot cards are viewed in. It's just like, they were just a tool. So at this point in time, the Ouija board was still being made in Baltimore, Maryland. And they weren't called Ouija boards, they were actually called talking boards. The name Ouija was the French word for yes and the German word for yes. So a Ouija board is basically called yes, yes. The board itself is an incredibly positive thing. Yes, yes. The boards at this point in time were made of varnished wood, and they were manufactured by a novelty company. I think it was called Kennard's Novelty Company. The Ouija boards themselves basically kind of floated along in this nice kind of novelty state up until a little movie came out that kind of just ruined it for the rest of us. This particular movie involved a little girl who was playing by herself, speaking to spirits through a Ouija board. She then becomes possessed. Her head turns 360, she projectile vomits, decides to screw a crucifix, and then throws a priest down the stairs. And of course I'm talking about The Exorcist. The Exorcist changed everything for Ouija boards. The Exorcist to Ouija boards was like what Jaws was to sharks. Up until that point, people didn't give a shit about sharks. And up until the point of The Exorcist, people didn't give a shit about Ouija boards. And suddenly this massive horror movie comes out featuring this long lost mystic slash occult item that can spontaneously prank dial a devil into your house. From then on, the Ouija board has kind of never been able to shake off this really terrible backstory. There has been movie after movie after movie after movie, but I can guarantee you that if there's some kind of Ouija board involved in the movie, then that is going to be the way that the protagonist manages to invite evil into their life. So at this point, I want to have a little true tea with you guys. True wine. The Ouija board itself is not some kind of mystic item. They don't sacrifice chickens over it in the manufacturing process, sprinkle it with demon water, burn the symbols into its surface under the light of a full moon. It is literally printed, covered, stamped, boxed and glued in a modern manufacturing warehouse. Does that really sound like something that is going to invite the devil into your life? Unless you buy Nescafe pod coffee. That is inviting the devil into your life. Nestle is the devil. Going back to my little gripe about seeing people posting all of these negative experiences, and look, I don't want to invalidate anything that someone has experienced whilst using a Ouija board. I will never trust myself if I'm using a Ouija board. There's this thing called the ideomotor effect, and it is basically, you know, if you stand with your fingers like this for long enough, you can't stop the way that your body moves. And one of the main ways that we believe that the Ouija board apparently works and that the planchette moves is a combination of however many people are around the board. This ideomotor effect is making the planchette move simply by the power of suggestion. If you've got a bunch of people who suddenly ask the question, is there anyone there? Well, of course the answer is going to be yes. So everyone's going to move to the yes. One thing I will say, I have had 2 sessions on a Ouija board that have completely blown me out of the water. We got first name, last name, battalion date, because this guy was a soldier and he got shipped over in World War II to France and he died. The name of his brother, where he served, what he was, and all of this stuff we then looked up afterwards in the Australian War Memorial records, and this guy existed. So yeah, that was not ideomotor effect. I want you guys to consider exactly what it is that you're doing when you're doing a Ouija session. When you guys are sitting down at a table, you're not sitting down in front of some holy object, unless like you've blessed it or something. You're sitting down in front of a piece of cardboard. It is the equivalent of sitting down in front of a made-up jigsaw puzzle. It's not the tool itself, but the way that you're using it and the people that are using it that are most likely making things happen. In reality, Ouija boards are no different than a voice recorder. They're no different than a spirit box. They are something that enables us to possibly talk to the other side. Just because you're talking to a spirit through a spirit box doesn't mean that it's any safer. Using a Ouija board doesn't mean that it's any more dangerous than having an EVP session, because it's the actual act of asking for some kind of spirit or whatever it is that you're trying to talk to that actually initiates that. You can do whatever you want with your boards. You can salt them, you can bless them, you can cast all four corners, you can call in the stations, you can do whatever you want, you can cover it in Skittles as far as I care. But it's honestly not going to make a difference to how well or how bad your experience is using the Ouija board. I've been using Ouija boards for the best part of the last 6 years. I don't know, like 4 times, once a fortnight over the past 4 years, on and off for another 2 years. And let me tell you, I have never ever accidentally opened up a portal to hell. I have never summoned a demon. I have never had anything attached to me. I've never been touched whilst using a Ouija board. I've never been attacked whilst using a Ouija board. That is not to say that there is not a possibility of these things happening. I've witnessed things happening to people who are at Ouija boards. I've witnessed people be overcome by spirit. However, personally, from a psychologist point of view, it really just looks like hysteria. Sorry. Unless you're getting information that no one else who is sitting at the board knows, it's probably ideomotor effect or power of suggestion or subconscious suggestion, or maybe you actually do have a spirit talking to you. Oh my god, no, it's the devil, we're all gonna die. I want to know if you guys have ever had any particularly scary experiences. Look, I'm not going to shoot you down. I know that, look, we don't even know really how the Ouija boards work. We don't know how any of this stuff works. So saying that it's all psychological, that it's ideomotor, that it's all subconscious power of suggestion, that's only based on what we know now and what we've observed now. And I have observed things during the use of a Ouija board that we can't explain. So please tell me if you've had anything really cool happen, or if you've had anything really boring happen, whether you're afraid of Ouija boards yourself, whether you think that it's a crock of shit. Pop them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can check me out on Twitter because, yes, I am addicted to Twitter. I'm doing a lot more talking on Twitter now. I'm always posting stuff on my Facebook, but yeah, majorly like check me out on Twitter. I like Twitter so much better. Anyway, bye.